arrows. And the title of his paper for today is Mongol Invasion of 1241-42 north of the Danube, Orda Khan's Trail to Esztergom. Welcome, Michal. Please take the floor.
Welcome, dear colleagues, dear friends. Thank you very much for inviting me. I will try to go as fast as possible, but it will be 20 minutes. Let's start. You see? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Let's start with the typical map, which is very much used in Slovak historiography, that is showing the Mongol invasion. However, this is something repeated over 30 years and not yet are making budgets that I will try to make now. Here on the map, you can see the sites that I currently can connect with the Mongol invasion of 1241, 1242. The red diamonds are the coin hoards that was mentioned by Josef Vlasovsky. The black are the archaeological finds, and white are the written sources. I won't go through all of them because we don't have time for this, so maybe I will try just to somehow fill in gaps that was with the other presenters. And I will go with three sections. First of all is the Bela IV after the defeat at Muhy. We know that he was traveling through present-day Slovakia and he was pursued by the Mongols. We have two written accounts of Bela's flight. One is about the city of Nitra, where he rested, and local soldiers, local youth joined his retinue and continued with him on his flight. And then we have another written source that he stopped in Bratislava, where the local merchant gave him fresh horses as he crossed the Danube. For the pursuing Mongols, we have, let's say, four questionable written sources. First one is Šurice Hajdačka, that the king is giving diploma to local Serbians for fortifying and defending a hill from the Mongols, and that they saved many people. It's possible to connect it with this passing regiment that was following Bela, because it is very possible that these pursuing Mongols didn't want to refrain and stop by to taking some fortified place. We also know for Bushince, which is number 4 on the map will come out a few times, where we know that the land was depopulated by Mongols on two sides from King's Charters. Then we have two sites in Bratislava, where I will try to say how maybe the Mongols crossed the Danube here, as we know that they didn't cross the Danube before in 1241. They were waiting for the ice, but here they obviously, in pursuing the King Bela, they passed. So we have two derelict lands, derelict villages in the vicinity of Bratislava. One of them is disputed, the originality, but I think that it can be original. Here we can see the first military mapping of Bratislava. This is the castle. This is the town, and here are the two sites that were mentioned in diplomas. The bridge or the fort, not the bridge, the fort through the river is here. South from here, Danube is getting much wider. So I would say there is possibility that the pursuing Mongols didn't want to get to the defended fort and were crossing somewhere around here where the river is not so wide and not defended by the Castle Devin, more upstream. Here you can see how Bratislava looked like a century or 2 centuries ago. But the main topic that I wanted to mention is the Orda's trail. After the Battle of Liegnitz, we know that Orda moved to join the rest of the Mongol army in Hungarian kingdom. This is the famous map with this offshot. As we were talking yesterday, as we heard from Tomáš Somr, the written sources are not so gratuitous about this part through Moravia. So I will present a few passes in which they may have entered the Hungarian kingdom. The most often in our historiography is the Hrozenkov Pass here, a bit south or a bit west from Trenčín. Less common is mentioned the Vlara Pass and the Jablunkov Pass. For this, we have to introduce a very important character, that his name was Bogomerius, son of Sebeslav. We know from the diploma that the king gave him that he was in his youth Count of Sikios, and most probably he was king's childhood friend or youth friend, because he was accompanying him with many different expeditions. For example, he was with him in Bulgaria, where Bogomerius was captured by Alexander, the brother of Ivan Asen II. He was also fighting with him in Buda, probably some clashes with local nobility. We know for sure that he was fighting in Muhi. And then he moved to Trenčín because he was the Count of Trenčín and Nitra. As a Count of Trenčín, he is the person that issued the diplomas that we know about the defense of the Castle Trenčín. You can read them. I will just mention that there is 3 diplomas. We know after this about Bogomerius that after the Mongols left, he was quickly defending his lands somewhere in Trenčín or Nitra County against Friedrich the Quarrelsome that attacked Hungary in 42. And that he was also part of the diplomatic mission in Poland and also leading men to support Boleslav chase against Conrad. The importance is here is that in this charter he's given 2 abandoned lands, Kisuca and Sucha, with aim to fortify them. Our historiography says that Sucha was most definitely derelict because of the Mongols, but Kisuca not, even though they're put together in the same category. The land of Kisuca is, land of Kisuca, I led 5 years excavation in the land of Kisuca. We were thinking that one fortification can be connected with this Bogomerius. Unfortunately, it is not. It is around 50 years younger fortification, but you can see here number 14. We can say that this was the place where at least the people passed or ran away from the Mongols if they weren't slaughtered. Unfortunately, this whole region is very poorly archaeologically excavated. It is the, how to say, the hillbilly area of our country, my birthplace. So we don't have so many 13th century or first half of the 13th century diplomas or even archaeological research. Just to show how the Trenčín castle looks now, we know that the Mongols didn't take it. They tried to siege it, but they were unsuccessful, and they most definitely pillaged and destroyed many villages in its surroundings. Then there is another site that can show us on this path that Orda took, and it's the site of Puchov, where there is, unfortunately, these are finds of very old date. They're kept in Naturhistorisches Museum in Vienna. And we only know their possible location where there was no other finds that can be correlated with the earlier medieval periods. So it can be proof that these indeed are the Mongol arrowheads. The site of Puchov is here. So the problem with the Hrozenkov Pass that is always mentioned is this. We are lacking any sources about the Mongol invasion here and around Olomouc. The only one we know for sure, as Tomáš Sommer yesterday showed, is here in Opava. So they would have to pass through this highly densely populated area without the written sources behind them, get through the Hrozenkov Pass, and return up the stream of the river to try to take Trenčín. In my opinion, this is not very possible that they would think like this. Other possibility is Vlara Pass, that is north of Trenčín. So if they would move somewhere through here or through here and then go to Trenčín, yes, possible. But still, we're missing the evidence from here. What we have evidence is here the Via Magna that was passing also through the Terra Kisuca or land of Kisuca and going up towards the Bohemia and Silesia or the Poland. So this in my opinion, this is the most probable route. If they went through Opava, they very fast could have moved through this part of Moravia, on the borders of Silesia, passed through Jablunko Pass, and therefore they were already in the Hungarian kingdom. And to explain that these mountain passes weren't exactly mountain passes, you can see this is the Jablunko Pass. So there is not something that was that can be like heavily guarded with comparison on some of the mountain passes in the East Carpathians. This is the Vlara Pass. So you can see that because our historiography sometimes says that they didn't go to these parts because they were unreachable by the Mongol army. I would say that this is a pretty okay place. It was settled after by Valachs, the shepherds. So to my third topic that I want to slightly mention, like in the written part will be much more details, but are the human remains in settlement objects that we mentioned. We have 4, respectively 5 human remains that can be connected with the Mongol invasion. You can see one, Senec, the village of Sveti Martin, where in the 13th century, it was just in a grain pit, thrown man, which is the common conception of the Mongols. Also on the side was found this piece of arrowhead that, unfortunately, not much more can be concluded from this. There is a high medieval settlement in Zelenec that were two people deposited also in a settlement pit, and it is noted by the anthropologists that they had intentionally smashed skulls. And for the most interesting, unfortunately, without any pictorial evidence and with, let's say, lost the excavation report, or maybe it's the person that excavated it, is Zhukovce, the village. It was the settlement from the 13th century, and there in the oven was multiple skeletons, as we've seen in the previous presentation. But the most important and most famous of these settlement objects is a dugout hut from Palarikovo, where we found, where there was found 4 individuals actually on a pile. There was one woman on the side, 2 juvenile individuals, one of them laying on the other one, and one of them had decapitated head rolled in the center of the hut, and a man laying on top of them with the removed head. The head wasn't found anywhere else. So this is what I mentioned to Dorothea yesterday, that I knew about something like that. Of course, we cannot say that this was exactly the Mongol warrior, but except that it was dated in the 13th century based on the pottery shards and other tools and utensils, the whole dugout hut was quite preserved because it burned and fell down. There was a spearhead. You can see this is, it's very hard to date something on a spearhead, but it can point out to something, because this is spearhead that is common for the Eastern nomadic groups, let's say. These are the parallels from the Eurasian steppe of these type of spearheads. And one, let's call it button, with some people explaining that this is Oriental provenance, although I didn't see something exactly analogical to this. So if someone knows a like analogy for this, I would be very grateful. However, we can see that when we show again the map, we have some lack of information or some holes in here and here. There is some unpublished thing also in this place, but every day the excavations bring new things that are filling the gaps, and I'm pretty sure even yesterday I was contacted by one colleague that wanted to check some arrowheads. They're definitely with Mongol origin, somewhere from this area. I won't say more. So I'm definitely optimistic that the more sites will show, and this is like a cherry on the top. With on behalf of my friend and our colleagues, we made a survey, metal detector survey on one site that we is highly suspicious for the Mongol invasion and also for the later most possibly Cuman settling in this area. We most definitely found a lot of coins dated to 14th, 15th century from disturbed graves. We can see it is church. It's even called the derelict church. There are remains. There was magnetometry made. It's a Romanesque church, most possibly, that is fortified on in like circular shape. It's most definitely only earth and wood fortification. For the finds that are from the earlier period, you can see this is the very interesting coin, the copper coin of it is imitation of the Byzantium coins. They're attested to Bela III, most probably, but they are highly often found in the context of the Mongol invasion. The arrowhead that is not of local origin, unfortunately, it cannot be with 100% connected with the Mongols. The finds are not yet even cleaned and everything. This is from the shackles or from a lock, the locking mechanism. And this looks like this is probably from the later settlement, something around 15th century, part of the belt, female's belt. We hope that we'll be able to make more excavations, even though I'm suggesting to, if we want to dig it properly, to find enough finds and not only with metal detectors. But, and this will be very published, as I mentioned, this is the last slide, recently, will be soon published finds that can be connected either with Cumans or Mongols that are from the Low Carpathian, also again from the Slovak, let's say from the Slovak, Hungarian and Moravian border. You can see the typical stirrups and arrowheads, one mace. This find can be most possibly connected with the Mongol invasion. This can be more with the Cumans. So more research, and we will fill the map as it should be. Thank you for the attention.